Daughter of the Stars Theater proudly presents the Shenandoah Valley, a closer look.
Native American and Colonist Treaty, legal conquest of the Shenandoah Valley. How was the Shenandoah Valley owned by the colonies? It was taken by conquest and sold in the Treaty of Lancaster, 1744. The treaty was convened at the courthouse in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, July 2nd, 1744, now known as Penn Square. The treaty was between the colonies of Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, and the native tribes of the Shenandoah Valley, mainly represented by the Haudenosaunee, or the Six Nations Iroquois. The Cherokee were represented by the Six Nations. The Shawnee were excluded, and the Catawba did not attend but sent a message of their thoughts. The Six Nations were represented by their sachems, or the High Ruling Council, composed of the primary spokespersons of Takanuntia, Kasanetigo, and Gachradado. The Haudenosaunee referred to the colonies as Pennsylvania, Brother Onas, or the people of the Quill. Brother Onas also applied specifically to William Penn. Virginia was referred to as Ossarogoa, or Long Knives, and Maryland was referred to as Tokara Ihogan. The background of the treaty was the colonial encroachment into the Shenandoah Valley, which almost caused the Six Nations to go to war with the Virginia colony in 1743. Previous treaties made the demarcation line of the Six Nations as the Blue Ridge. The treaties prevented the Haudenosaunee from going east of the Blue Ridge, but did not prevent colonists from going west of the Blue Ridge. The colonists continued to occupy the fertile lands of the Shenandoah Valley through 1744. The Treaty of Lancaster was convened to settle these claims and pay the Six Nations for the land. The Cherokee sent word to the Six Nations that they were acceptable of the treaty. The Shawnee were deemed to have relinquished their claims due to their alliance with the French, and the French being on the losing side in King George's War. A continuing conflict between the Six Nations and the Catawba was not settled. Virginia tried to settle the Iroquois-Catawba War, but came to the Lancaster reporting disappointment that there was no settlement of the Iroquois-Catawba War to the Six Nations sachems. The sachems, the leaders of the Six Nations, responded to Virginia.
You had been disappointed in your endeavors to bring out a peace between us and the Catawbas. Yet, you would still do the best to bring such a thing about. We are well pleased with your design, and the more so, as we hear you know what sort of people the Catawbas are, that they are spiteful and offensive, and have treated us contemptuously.
The sachems said to Virginia, or Brother Ossarogoa,
We have confirmed the peace with the Cherokees, but not with the Catawbas. They have been treacherous and know it, so that the war must continue till one of us is destroyed. This we think proper to tell you, that you may not be troubled at what we do to the Catawbas. The Catawbas refused to come, and sent us word that we were but women, that they were men, and double men, for they had two penises, that they could make women of us, and would be always at war with us.
Virginia asserted through right of conquest that the land of the Shenandoah Valley belonged to the Virginia colony. The 1609 charter of the colony from the English crown gave Virginia all the land to the Pacific, or at least to the Ohio River Valley. The Six Nations interpreted that their eastern boundary was the Front Range of the Appalachians, or the ridge where the Blue Ridge Parkway and Skyline Drive are today. The Iroquois also asserted the right of conquest, but were most concerned about the free passage and food access along the Valley Road. The lands in Maryland and Pennsylvania were ceded for payment. The Six Nations did not seem to be that concerned about the lands in Maryland and Pennsylvania. The Iroquois were also impressed with the kindness of food support shown by both Maryland and Pennsylvania in previous years. Then Takanuntia added,
We forgot to say that the affair of the road must be looked upon as a preliminary to be settled before the grant of lands, and that either the Virginia people must be obliged to remove more easterly, or if they are permitted to say that our warriors marching that way to the southward shall go sharers with them in what they plant.
The encroached colonial settlers were allowed to stay in the Shenandoah Valley in exchange for free access to travel and food support of the Six Nations along the Valley Road. With the access granted and payments agreed, the terms of the treaty were set. The Six Nations gave each colony gifts of wampum belts specific to each colony in a show of respect and friendship. Virginia agreed to continue efforts to make peace between the Catawba and the Haudenosaunee. Virginia confirmed its assertion of right of conquest, along with payment of gold and silver, received the land claims in the Shenandoah Valley. Pennsylvania and Maryland received the land for payment. With all the gifts, payments, and terms agreed, the treaty was consummated. In the treaty, Haudenosaunee received, from Virginia, 200 pounds of gold, 100 pounds of silver, and offered free education at William and Mary for 6 Haudenosaunee, one from each tribe, which was declined. A paper was to be given to the English king to have the crown continue to favor the Six Nations over other tribes. Safe passage for the Haudenosaunee, public representatives in Virginia. During negotiations, rum was requested by the Six Nations and added by Virginia. From Maryland, 100 pounds of gold and a gold-braided hat given to the Gaucheradotta. From Pennsylvania, $200 of Pennsylvania money, and a list of goods including 200 shirts, bars of lead, shot, gunpowder, and other consumer goods. Altogether, the Six Nations received $3.5 to $4 million in compensation in 2022 dollars for the treaty, and some rum. At the treaty's conclusion, there was a party to celebrate. During negotiations, Conococheague in particular was asking about the rum. The host Virginians first served the rum in French glasses, which were small, then in English glasses, which were bigger. All noted that the English glasses were better because they were bigger than the French ones. The Six Nations agreed that the English were better friends. All toasted the hate of the French and the Catawba. The westernization of the Shenandoah Valley occurred by occupation and was bought. The mutual hate of the Catawba and Haudenosaunee, integrated with the British-French rivalry, served to make the unique partnership of the Iroquois and the British. The bond of the enemy, of my enemy, is my friend, is ancient and powerful, and was a strong element in the treaty. The Treaty of Lancaster in 1744 was the legal conquest of the Shenandoah Valley. The treaty was printed and published by Ben Franklin.
We hope you find your guiding star.